Yo, what's poppin', guys? You got your boy Nandra here, back at it with another video. Now, for this video, what I wanted to go ahead and talk about today was I wanted to go ahead and talk about Portal. In particular, Artifact Portal, but I suppose I also can talk about Puppet Portal as well. Now, right now, in the current metagame, many people, if you ask them how Puppet fared in the current, well, not Puppet, how Portal as a class fared in the current metagame, they would tell you Portal's tier 3. Now, I do not believe that is the case, in my honest opinion. And of course, there are obviously other people who agree with me on this. Now, I wanted to go ahead and explain why I think that the people are thinking it, as well as why they might be thinking it, and then of course explain what can be done to go ahead and correct that mistake, as well as elaborate and showcase some of the decks that I've been using as Portal and having great success with. So, really quickly, to start off with, and this is probably the root cause right here. Honestly, this is the reason why I wanted to go make talk about this video. Is that right now when you see Portal, in the last 4 or 5 Portal games you played, what did you play against? I bet you dollars to donuts your answer is gonna be Lashana. Yeah, I do not think Lashana, specifically Lashana Turbo, which is basically what people play, is not the deck to play as Portal. I don't think that's the case. Now, you might be wondering, but Nandra, why? It's such a good win condition. Yeah, it's a good win condition, but you can't just look at win conditions in the vacuum. You have to look at win conditions like how they fit in the meta. For example, Aisha. Aisha, for those of you who don't know, it's a 5PP Shadowcraft card. It has Enhanced 10, go ahead and gain Storm, Necromancy 10, gain the ability to attack twice. Yeah, many people will tell you that that's a great finisher, because it is, in a vacuum. But in reality, it's you're not going to play it because they're better win cons. Now, this is not so much the case for Lashana. There are technically better win cons. But no, the issue with Lashana, for me, is that, if you play the Lashana Turbo deck, which is basically, the deck that, only wins if you hit Lashana on 4, going second, or, of course, if you just hit Lashana on your first Evo, and, you start racking up the puppets to get your stacks. It's a good win con, however, it's not a good standalone win con. Now, mind you, there's some slight bias on my part, because I don't like standalone win cons. I want to have, 2 or 3 different strategies that I can use in order to try to win games, just because, of course, there's the obvious, missing gap question of, oh, what do you do when you don't hit your win con? Can you win without it? You probably need to find a way to make sure that the answer is yes. And for many Portal players, with how greedy their deck is, in order to make sure that oh, if I hit the Lashana, I'm just gonna high roll my ass off, and boom, I'll have maybe turn 7, turn 8 destruction in black. Yeah, that's great and all, but it's and here's the thing, it's great, but right now, Dragon is the most prominent class in rotation right now, followed very, very closely by Mysteria. Those two are neck and neck. Those two combined make up about 50% of the current metagame, judging from the last 3 or 4 Shadowlog reports. However, Dragon has Satan, or Prince of Cocytus, however you want to call him, but I'm just gonna call him Satan, or Stan, and Stan is great because Stan has not one but two different cards that literally shit on your win con, being that of either the Heavenfall or being that of the Flame Lord of the Seat, both of which say, oh, banish either one amulet, or in the case of Flame Lord, banish all amulets, and that's just devastating. And again, it's rant. Many people, when I go ahead, when they go ahead and they're talking about Dragon or whatever, Dragon just kind of turn 6 Satan every single time. Yeah, turn 6 Satan beats out turn 8 Destruction in Black. So that means Dragon will guarantee to have at least 2 different bites at the apple to go ahead and grab one of those banish amulets, thus banishing your win con, and thus banishing your chances of winning the game. So basically, you're both, well, no, you're not necessarily both doing the same thing. It's just what you're doing is stopped by Dragon's faster game plan. So of course, at that point, it's damn, maybe I shouldn't be playing this in the metagame. However, not many people have come to that conclusion. Well, although again, some have. And I want to go ahead and talk about what things you can play instead. So, for example, one option you can play is Artifact Portal. Artifact Portal is very, very good. And even though yes, it is going to be rotating at the end of next month when Chronogenesis rotates out, it's still very, very good in the now. The reason being is that it's right. So right now, in rotation, there's a very heavy emphasis on having board. If you have board, you get to dictate everything that happens. It's not quite say pure rotation where oh, it doesn't matter if I don't have a board. If you're at 5, I'm just gonna find burn. I'm just gonna kill you anyway, right? No, it's not quite like that. If you have board, you can always go ahead and make wards, do things like that. Wards are still pretty good versus Dragon, but that's like a whole separate like bag for like a later talk. And in particular, when you look at Dragon, right? Dragon, unlike say that of like say Mysteria, right? Where Mysteria has a point and click. Oh, I can deal infinite damage to your face. I don't care if you have a ward. I only care if you have some kind of damage preventer, or if you have something that would like make my card cost more, like for example Infernal Gaze, or for example the Omen of Silence. Now, of course, you know, Dragon doesn't have any of those things. Dragon just has really big creatures. Like, is like literally the only like technical like alt win con for Dragon right now is literally Astaroth's Reckoning, which you can only get off Satan and or Stan. And that's, you know, and that's fine. But again, they still have to be in the Satan form. And of course, you have to, as long as you're able to like build a board and, you know, prevent them from playing that. Hey, you know, that works okay. I'm just perfectly just fine and dandy with that. So I'm gonna quickly show you guys the list I'm using. Alright, so this is what I'm using. This is basically like Machina Satan. Now, this is usually the list that you're gonna see. Now, you might be wondering, but Nandra, like, well, you know, I play this deck all the time, or whatever, and I can't win. Well, the reason why you might not be winning is because, like, there's a lot of different, like, nuances and, like, setups they need to be able to, like, know to do when you're, like, playing Portal. Specifically when you're playing Artifact Portal, because Artifact Portal, at least in this current iteration, requires certain steps to be achieved in order to do the things you need to do. Also, I see a lot of people are still heavily reliant on having Machina every single game, so they're just gonna like sabotage the mulligans for that. Yeah, please don't sabotage your mulligans for Machina. If you have like 2 good cards, sure, go ahead and keep the Machina. But if you don't have a good curve, toss back that Machina. Just, you know, believe that you'll draw it on 6 if you absolutely need it. And most times, you know, play in such a way that you shouldn't need it, but then you know that once you do, you'll be so far ahead that you can't lose. Anyway, so. For some of the setups, I wanted to go ahead and talk about. Like, there's obviously like some of the more obvious ones that maybe people like knew from like set 1, or not set 1, from the set that where CGS was released, and that is of course, say for example, Match Still Lion, into Fervent Machine Soldier, into Hamlin. Yep, pretty basic. But what you don't know is that there's also like more aggressive ones. Like for example, if you're going first, a good combo that I like is going Icarus on 2. Into either Miriam or Fervent plus oops, sorry, wrong card. Into Fervent plus Biofab on 3, into doing one of the other 2 on 4. Now that play is really good because it gets you minimum, or if your opponent is still just, you know, being stubborn and just like playing creatures because they just like didn't mull for move or didn't find removal. That play gets you a total of 6 damage through creatures. And you've actually managed to make it. Assuming, of course, you don't actually do the Biofab one, and you actually just get the Miriam into Fervent, or Miriam into Fervent one. They have no. They've actually like pulled out the cards you put into your decks. You're still at like a total of like +0 to your deck count, which means that you're like you're still like likely to find the Machina even if you toss it back. Yeah, there's like, you know, plays like that. Then of course there's still like plays like say for example, Match Still on 2. Miriam on 3, for Miriam 3, into Hamlet on 4, plus Excel, boom. You can clear 2 creatures that way. Also go ahead and draw 2 cards, which is like really nice to be able to do that versus aggro. Now in general, how you want to play this deck is you want to try to make, well, specifically versus Dragon. If you're versus Dragon, you're going to want to try to make as many analyzing artifacts as possible. Analyzing artifacts are basically like the somewhat unsung hero of Portalcraft right now, because like if you draw so many cards, it doesn't matter if you're putting a shit ton of cards in your deck, because like each time you draw and play an analyzed artifact or whatever, like you're still like each analyzed artifact, essentially when it dies, it becomes a +0 for you, because like you put it into your deck, right? But then when it died, like you were able to draw cards, so you're able to, like, you know, replace it, and still, like, you know, be able to like dig towards your other real cards, you know, dig towards your tokens if you need it, dig towards, you know, whatever, and that's great. The other thing to do is to really get into the habit of just like understanding like the proper steps in order to be able to like mob down your opponent. Because like if you have a ton of board, like if your opponent wants to play a big boy, like for example, if you want to play Satan and you don't have an evolve, but you're starting at 4 creatures, no one in the right mind is going to play the Satan unless you're at 20. But if your opponent has 4 creatures, you can't. There's no way you're still at 20. And things like that are very, very key in order to like being able to like dissuade the being able to dissuade the dragon player from playing Satan. Additionally, there's also other things like, for example, being able to like dodge. No, not really dodge, but being able to prevent to minimize the amount of damage that a Galmi YouTuber do to you. Like, cause right now, like that's basically like how Dragon beats most board-based decks. Is that you like leave yourself open to getting Galm for 7, and then the Galm just like wipes your board in such a way that like you lose everything, and you have no like easy bake clear in the hand that's like expend more resources, in particular your evolves. So you can't burn your evolves like that just to kill Galm. Now, let's see what else. There's also, of course, certain other things, like for example, when to play mechanization. So I see people like throw games all the time with like poor usage of mechanization. Now, when you're playing mechanization, you really probably don't want to play it, but before you have to play Machina, unless of course you're needed to like set up some kind of like Miriam stuff, in which case that could be cool for you to play it. And then 2, every single time that you're gonna play this, if you haven't won the game yet, and trust me, like when you actually get good at this deck, you'll know when you're gonna win the game. If you haven't like won the game yet, or put yourself in such a commanding lead to win the game, always play when you play this, go ahead and grab the analyze and go ahead and grab the ancient artifact. I see so many people randomly take mystic artifact or a radiant artifact when they don't need to, and diluting your pools as portal, that's how you die. Like if you dilute your pools as portal, you put yourself in a spot where, oh, if I don't get these searches absolutely immaculate, I'm going to die because I tried to pull a rabbit out of the hat and then I got like a banana. Yeah, that's not that's not good, right? Now let's see what else. Oh, the other thing, knowing when to play the Cocytus. Honestly, for me, generally speaking, the only times I'm going to play the Cocytus is I'm only going to play it on 5. If I know, for example, that I have like nothing else I can do and I have like Machina next turn, or I'm just gonna go ahead and I'll just like wait until after I get Machina and then I'll go ahead and play the Cocytus. You almost never play the Cocytus for full mana. Now I've done it once, and that was versus Lashana, because like this deck actually does struggle versus Lashana because you don't have banish, unless of course you actually like excel Cocytus and you both hit the banish and then also draw the banish. But that's like kind of hard. That's like kind of really tricky to do. But yeah, it's like knowing it. So it's like knowing all those like different setups and things like that. Which again, like they're very, very small, but they stretch and go a very, very long way for doing them. Like for example, another one is like, say, meta production into Miriam. That's pretty basic. Some people already know that, but you can do like meta production to Miriam into turn 3 play Hamlin. Oops, I clicked out the deck. Oops. Yeah, the turn 3 play Hamlin, which is like pretty nice. Because again, like you're searching and pulling immediately to then draw another card later. Like so you're still like making net gains. Also, early game creatures like that, when they come, like when you have like, right, so basically we have like what is essentially like offensive goblins. Like they're also like utility based, but those are pretty good. And if you're able to like spam them out a bunch of times, you'll find that a lot of times your opponent gets like scared, but by the vast number of creatures you have on board. Because like getting hit in the face for 1, that might not matter. But when you're getting hit in the face for 6 or from three different 1-drops, yeah, that's kind of scary. Especially when you know that when you kill them, your opponent's just gonna draw a card. So it's kind of like that feeling that you get when you play versus Dragon sometimes. Well, sorry, not me necessarily, but like a lot of the other guys, when you play versus Dragon and you have to like make trades and you feel like really, really bad because you know that, oh, with every trade I'm making, I'm like putting myself in that spot to lose the game, or which isn't quite accurate, but like that's essentially the kind of like feeling that I get that you guys are like feeling. Yeah, like it's basically the same thing here, and that's basically more or less what you have to do. Now, of course, the other things, such as like, for example, in the early game, especially while going second, you'll see me like usually like play this as a control deck as opposed to like playing. Well, you'll see me kind of like differ and different how I play sometimes. Like, so sometimes if I have like like one of those setups I was talking about, one of the like I think it's like at least like 4 or 5 different combinations of these cards that you can have. They just like let you do the stuff you want to do. Yeah, if I have one of those stuff, I'll usually go ahead and go for it. Or if I don't have the stuff, I'll go ahead and I'll switch to a more defensive game plan from the jump. Now, I think that one other issue is that like a lot of people, they just want to hit faces as hard as possible immediately, like because like they're scared, like they're like, damn, like if I'm not doing anything, whatever, I'm not winning. That's not true. Like if you're not doing anything, but your opponent's also not doing anything, then it comes down to the size of your deck. Whose game plan is bigger. I promise you, the Portalcraft game plan is usually much bigger than anything else most times, with some exceptions being possibly Arcus. Specifically if they have like Nicola with the Arcus, in which case you can get hit for like 10 damage, maybe 14 damage with like Nicola spells, or of course Portal, or of course like Mysteria. Sometimes if you like take too much damage and then the animal just kind of drops down and hits you. But yeah, but versus Dragon in particular, this deck is a very strong just like Dragon Flame deck, just because like once you get it popping, and like as long as you don't like, as long as you make sure to like not take too much damage in the early game, and just like understand when to go ahead and shift from like a kind of like tempo / control thing to playing Machina, that's then just like then just kind of like a grinder thing where you just kind of keep spinning, keep like controlling the board, set it like slowly but surely setting up your radiance to just storm face and whatnot. Yeah, then you'll be in a great spot, and it just pays off like massive dividends. But yeah, but this is like basically just like how I go ahead and play the deck, and some things of course I've like noticed some people do. Now I do actually also have gameplay videos. Now I'm not gonna do them on this video because that would take like way too long. But again, I do have some mainly from GP. I think I also have like 1 or 2 ladder games with it and some other stuff. But yeah, so be on the lookout for that. I'll probably actually like drop the Dragon one later, because the Dragon one was definitely the one that like made me say, oh hey, well this is a thing that I did. Yeah, but if you guys enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Let me know what you think about Portalcraft in the current metagame. Do you agree with my thoughts? Do you disagree with my thoughts? Now don't just tell me, don't just like tell me, oh Nandra, I disagree. No, go ahead and tell me I disagree or I agree and why, because I want to hear your thoughts too. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.